This is Kelso Sturgeon. Thank you for joining me for another edition of NFL Football Handicapping 101. This is all about Sunday's football. Before we get into that, Sunday is a big day for me. I'm releasing my 200-unit NFL Game of the Year. This team grades out as a 3-touchdown winner above the number, and I'm confident that it'll win in just that fashion. You don't want to miss it. It's my biggest single play of the entire NFL season. It's available on this site and toll free at 1-800-755-2255 for just $50 charged to your major credit card. Once again, my 200-unit NFL Game of the Year Sunday on this site and toll free at 1-800-755-2255. All major credit cards are accepted. And I'd like to run down a few things involving NFL teams just to stimulate your thoughts a little bit. These are my opinions. I'm not so certain that I'm right all the time, but I believe that I'm right on track here. First of all, I've concluded that the Baltimore Ravens may well be the best team in the National Football League and are a very strong candidate to get to the Super Bowl. Why? Well, this is a team that's played 4 of its first 6 games on the road. It split those games, but just the results. They went into the Meadowlands and beat the New York Jets. They went to Pittsburgh. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, beating those 2 teams at home is a very difficult task. They lost 15-10 at Cincinnati, and then last week they lost in overtime by 3 at the New England Patriots. It takes a good football team to play 4 teams of that caliber on the road and even split with them. The Ravens did it. Now they come back home. The schedule doesn't get a whole lot softer. It'll be a little softer this week against Buffalo, but I have a strange feeling that the performance of the Ravens in these first 6 games indicates to me they are the best team in football. We'll wait and see, but that's just my opinion right now. Now, as far as the worst teams in football go, I've got the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills, which, by the way, play at Baltimore this week, in a dead heat for being the worst teams in football. They're just dreadful. Carolina has really nothing, a shell of itself. And by the way, I found out just this week that Carolina is suffering with its personnel because there is a lack of money there to pay big-name players. Got it right from the horse's mouth, and I believe it. As for Buffalo, they have no quarterback, no offensive line, no coach, no nothing. And they're going to be lucky to win a game or 2 this season. By the way, I'm not so sure Carolina will beat anybody. Now, another bad team that is coming to the surface very slowly and may challenge both these teams as being the worst is the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders just looked so bad last week in losing to the San Francisco 49ers. I couldn't believe it. I said to myself, this looks like an old Sandlot football team from Eastern Pennsylvania. They didn't look like an NFL football team. Did nothing right. The quarterback had a rating, an efficiency rating of 10.7, I believe, when the game was over. Anything below 60 is considered downright dreadful. This guy had a 10 rating. Bad, very bad. And then, you get to the situation of the Detroit Lions. Here's a team that is 1-5, and a lot of people laugh at the Lions, but I'd like to tell you one thing. They're 1-5 straight up. They're 5-1 against the number. I would say right now that they're the most underrated team in the NFL. They're going to win some football games this season, but they've already won 5 out of 6 times for the bettors. Big problems in Chicago. Think about this. Last week against Seattle, Chicago could not convert one single third down. That's almost impossible to do. 0-12 in converting third downs. If you can't convert third downs, you can't win. It's also kind of interesting that the offensive line has fallen apart, and the last 2 games that Jay Cutler has played, he has been sacked 15 times. Something dreadfully wrong in Chicago. Just remember that when you go to handicap a game involving them. Also, I'm not going to be putting too high a number on the San Francisco 49ers, even though they got off the snide last week and beat Oakland. Oakland played so bad that I think anybody could have beaten them. Now, these are my opinions in the NFL this week. I certainly respect yours, but I wanted to share this with you. Don't forget now, Sunday, my NFL 200-unit Game of the Year. Get it right here on this site or toll free at 1-800-755-2255. Charge to your major credit card $50.